It's Thursday, September 5. In the headlines, Education Minister credits government policies for timely school repairs. In business news, Caribbean Cream Limited, Creamy, reports 129% increase in 3 months net profit. Regionally, CDB urges talks with Trinidad and Tobago on $400 million unimplemented projects. And in sports, Jamaican footballer Khadija Bonnie Shaw has been nominated for the 2024 Women's Ballon d'Or. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Residents of Trelawney Southern and the soon-to-be vacant St. Andrew Northwestern seat could go to the polls before the end of the year to elect their political representatives. The matter came up during this week's post-cabinet press brief after Prime Minister Andrew Holness announced a by-election in St. Ann Northeastern on September 30, with nomination day set for next Wednesday, September 11. Former Senator Matthew Samuda was named as the standard bearer.
There is also a division that is vacant, and so to put everyone at ease, within the restructuring that is taking place, all outstanding seats will be addressed.
Dr. Nigel Clark is slated to resign as Minister of Finance and Member of Parliament for St. Andrew Northwestern in time to take up a position of Deputy Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund on October 31. The Jamaica Labour Party has selected three-time councillor Dwayne Smith to replace Dr. Clark as its standard bearer in that constituency. Education Minister Favil is commending the Jamaican government, stating that without its strong macroeconomic policies, schools heavily damaged by Hurricane Beryl wouldn't have been repaired and ready in time for the new school year. Danita Rodney reports.
It is at this juncture that I want to make a connection or a link between the massive infrastructure repairs we've been able to do for the badly damaged schools and make that link to the sound macroeconomic policies of this government. We could not have done what we did without budget support from central government. The budget support in a time of disaster could not have happened were it not for adherence to the sound macroeconomic policies over the years and the implementation of those policies that have allowed us to build disaster resilience into our national budgets.
That was Minister of Education and Youth Favil Williams at this week's post-cabinet press briefing at Jamaica House, highlighting the crucial role of government policies in the timely reopening of schools after Hurricane Beryl. Addressing members of the media, Mrs. Williams emphasized that these macroeconomic policies were instrumental in ensuring the education sector was able to recover quickly and schools could open on schedule.
My point in highlighting these is that these financial instruments are all policy decisions. So I unabashedly say again, when you have good, sound macroeconomic policies that deliver for the people of Jamaica, such as the education sector, being able to pick itself up in record time so our children could make their way back to school on September 2nd, we must appreciate that.
Minister Williams says the quick restoration of schools damaged by the hurricane highlights the effectiveness of the government system in delivering fiscal resources during emergencies.
And so when the finance minister said that over the years, this government has systematically built different layers of financial instruments designed to deliver fiscal resources for the emergency costs, the restoration of our schools at a cost of billions of dollars is a very visible manifestation of good macroeconomic policies working in a tangible and real way on the ground for the people of Jamaica.
The Education Minister expressed her gratitude to former Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark, highlighting his resilience and significant contributions. She credited his efforts as instrumental in the ministry, being confident about the new academic year.
I want to publicly thank Minister Dr. Nigel Clark for his doggedness in getting resilience built into our national budgets, so that we in education did not have to scramble or flap around. We were able to set about doing the work so we could stand here today in front of the Jamaican people to say we are confident about the new school year.
Reporting for the news on PBCJ, I am Danita Rodney.
The Education Minister Favil Williams and a team from the ministry paid a visit to Yas High School in St. Thomas on Wednesday, following public statements made by the school's principal, Mark Malver, regarding a shortage of teachers, furniture, and other resources. Mr. Malver, who is the president-elect of the Jamaica Teachers Association, had reported that Yas High School is short of at least 6 teachers, which means that some of the staff will have to double up their efforts in teaching. Noting that contractors were working on the physical structure, he lamented the lack of support in furniture and curricular tools. Following a tour of the school on Wednesday, Portfolio Minister Favil Williams says the school will get support.
I know the principal mentioned a number of things that he has on his wish list, on his action plan for us to discuss, and I do look forward to that discussion with him to see how we can provide for the school in whichever areas we can support. I know coming here today I learned about the agricultural program. Well, is it the agricultural program? The agricultural program that is here, and the science department and so forth.
Minister Williams noted the Member of Parliament for St. Thomas Western, James Robertson's ability to get support for the school from the private sector.
St. Thomas is up and coming. It's expanding in terms of employment, industry, housing, and so forth. The highway has opened up opportunities, and in the minds of
Due to the challenges being faced by Yas High and dozens of other schools affected by Hurricane Beryl, the new school year started this week with only a few grades having face-to-face lessons. With contractors working to complete repairs, the school administration is set to open its doors to the lower grades next week. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is imploring Jamaican students to honor their bond attached to the Dr. Barwin Memorial Scholarship and remain in the country. 607 students were awarded scholarships at the inaugural Dr. Barwin Memorial Scholarship just before the beginning of the new academic year. The scholarship program is set to make available $500 million each year for the next 5 years. It is geared towards financing studies in public health for Jamaicans. The successful recipients will be bonded to work in the public health system for a period after their studies.
We are now at a time, however, where Jamaica needs all its talent. The historical driver for the migration of our talent was the fact that we were not able to absorb all the talent we produce locally. But what has changed? What has changed is that since our independence, you now have a government that is laser-like focused on developing the country's economy.
Despite this, the Prime Minister notes that Jamaican talent is sought after around the world.
We have continually done that. Export talent to the world. We are exporting our Minister of Finance. And international bodies actually lobby me quite regularly, asking me if I were to tap one of your ministers for a position, what would be your thoughts?
Mr. Holness urged attendees not to limit their educational journey.
Study to show thyself approved. Keep upgrading yourself. Keep current. Study because you want better pay. Yes? Yes? But study because you want to give better service. How about that one?
Time now for the business report. Blue Power Group Limited has declared a dividend of 10 cents per share payable on October 11, 2024 to shareholders on record as at September 27, 2024. The ex-dividend date is September 27, 2024. Lumber Depot Limited has declared a dividend of 7 cents per share payable on October 11, 2024 to shareholders on record as at September 27, 2024. The ex-dividend date is September 27, 2024. Caribbean Cream Limited for the first quarter ended May 31, 2024 reported a 26% increase in revenue totaling $763.60 million compared to $603.99 million in the corresponding 3 months last year. This was driven by improved stock availability with the operation of their new cold room, which has allowed them to meet the increased demand for their products. Net profit for the 3 months amounted to $15.33 million, a 129% increase from the $6.70 million reported in 2023. The Planning Institute of Jamaica estimates that the local economy was relatively flat in April to June 2024 quarter. In the latest preliminary estimates delivered on Wednesday, Director General of the PIOJ, Dr. Wayne Henry, said gross domestic product for the 3 months was at 0.1% compared with a similar period last year. Meanwhile, the Statistical Institute of Jamaica has reported that export revenues contracted by 4.1% in the first 4 months of 2024. Jamaica's top 5 export destinations were the USA, Iceland, the Russian Federation, Puerto Rico, and Canada. Export revenue from countries rose by 2.6% to $452.6 million, primarily due to higher alumina exports to Iceland. Denise Williams is up next with a report on the market movements in the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
During trading for period of September 4, 2024, the following companies represent the top 3 most active stocks that investors bought and sold on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Toll road operator Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited with 2,807,807 units, representing 26.08% of the market value in terms of sales. International supermarket operator Deramon Trading Limited with 1,677,349 units, representing 15.58% of the market value in terms of sales. Pharmaceutical and medical supplies distributor R.A. Williams Distributors Limited with 1,092,085 units, representing 10.14% of the market value in terms of sales. Moving from the money moves of investors, executives, and companies, we turn to the Forex market. On September 4, 2024, the Bank of Jamaica reported that US $52.89 million was bought from Forex traders, while US $73 million was sold to Forex traders. Buying directly from the Bank of Jamaica, foreign currency traders sold the US dollar for $158.44 and bought the US dollar for $156.94. The difference between the buy and sell rate was $1.50, which represents a profit for Forex traders for every US dollar traded. Canadian Forex traders earned a trading profit of $1.02 from transactions at the Bank of Jamaica. The Canadian dollar was sold at $117.52 and bought for $116.50. For traders looking at the British pound, they pocketed a profit of $7.09, selling it for $207.91 and buying it for $200.82. For our credit report tip of the day, we again are looking at helping you recover from back to school spending. And we want to help you to rebuild your credit score and prepare for what's coming next. There could be a new car, fixing up your home, or qualifying for a mortgage. So let's take this idea. Use credit strategically. If you have a credit card, use it strategically by making small purchases and paying them off in full each month. This will show responsible credit usage without accruing debt.
In regional news, the Caribbean Development Bank is calling for continued dialogue with the Trinidad and Tobago government to maintain its broad range of technical assistance in the country. According to the bank, over the past few years, it has identified more than $400 million worth of projects, but only a small fraction has been implemented. Sunil Lala has the details.
In the last country strategy, for example, we identified over $430 million worth of projects. Shall I tell you how many actually materialized? Yeah, less than about 10 million.
Acting Vice President of Operations at the Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, Therese Turner-Jones, said the story between the CDB and Trinidad has not been an impressive one, and the bank is looking to change that outlook.
But also, given the importance of Trinidad as a leading economy in the region, it hasn't been stellar. And we have to own that. We have to own it in terms of what that dialogue looks like with the Trinidadian government.
She said the CDB has identified some critical areas for development in the country, including a master plan for water resources, among other specific focus.
It's good to see that Trinidad is interested in areas like road safety, and so big technical assistance under about $1 million to make sure that road safety measures are in place to reduce your traffic fatalities. I mentioned the master plan already, and in terms of transitioning, the technical assistance is going into looking at wind resources, an assessment of how wind can be another source of energy for Trinidad.
Financial Stability Advisor at the International Monetary Fund, Dr. Peter Jakubik, said the Development Bank of Latin America and the Caribbean, CAF, has also been doing its part to facilitate projects for local development.
Then you need to think about both physical transition risk. And this is something like climate risk is something very real. Kevin was in the workshop in February, and there were some colleagues who presented really kind of clear examples how visible climate risk is in those countries.
And Mrs. Turner-Jones said the CDB is currently reviewing a technical assistance program to help Trinidad with its disaster risk management.
But disaster risk management for all the countries in this region has to be a top priority, because it's always too late after the hurricane hits to say, oh, we did not have those things in place. And by the way, each country in this region should have a country work program on disaster risk management.
They were speaking at a panel discussion hosted by the Central Bank on TNT's economic and financial resilience on Wednesday. Sonolala, TTT News.
Continuing with news from Trinidad and Tobago, in a push for deinstitutionalization, the foster care unit of the Children's Authority is moving to match best practice countries. This involves a country possessing less children's homes and more alternative placement options like foster care and adoption for children in need of protection. More in this report.
Acting manager of the foster care unit, Andrew Northwestern, said while not downplaying the role of children's homes in society, individualized care in family environments is ideal.
So I want to start with the difference between foster care and adoption. Foster care is a temporary care option. So if a child is found in need, abandoned, sort of in need of protection, we can place a child temporarily with a family. So that's a safe family option that we've checked, we've vetted. But adoption is actually a permanent care option. So that means we've gotten consent to remove a child from their birth family and place them permanently with an adoptive family. So they're both very different.
Yeah. And once approved for traditional foster care, there are several options for those with varying resources and schedules.
And there's emergency foster care, so that's one night up to 2 weeks. Short-term or medium foster care, which can go up to 6 months, so we're actively working with the families. And then there's long-term foster care. We really don't know what that time frame is, and it could really expand till the child ages out. And then there's also respite foster care. So if a foster parent has to travel, has any medical issues, they can place that child with another foster parent temporarily, as well as specialist foster care for those types of special needs children. And lastly, and very importantly, is kinship foster care.
With kinship foster care, new legislation allows the authority to place children with relatives other than a parent, keeping children within their own family network. Mrs. Northwestern stressed the primary requirement to become a foster parent is an open heart and open home, and the authority works hand in hand with foster parents through the provisions of stipends where needed, basic training, and psychoeducational support.
Guyana's Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, has assured the country is fully prepared to handle any potential cases of Mpox. Speaking to the media on Tuesday, Dr. Anthony highlighted that medical personnel have been trained and vaccines are available for those who may need them. He also mentioned the recent formation of a national Mpox committee made up of infectious disease specialists, which meets regularly to monitor the global situation and maintain Guyana's readiness. So far, around 270 doctors have been trained, and guidelines have been distributed to physicians to help identify and diagnose Mpox cases.
So I think we are quite prepared. You will recall that in the first outbreak that we did diagnose 2 cases here, and we were able to isolate them and treat them. And we didn't record any more cases. But that gave us, I think, a good way of how to manage these cases, and everybody was alerted and we have put systems in place. So we have been able to activate those systems. Last weekend we also did a training for doctors across Guyana. We had more than 270 doctors who were on the training. So I think it has helped to give them a refresher in terms of Mpox and the differential diagnosis that they have to make. We have also put surveillance systems in place at all our ports of entry, which include the airport and the seaports. We have also bought vaccines, and we have in stock vaccines against Mpox, and we have issued a set of criteria that can be used for persons who would be more at risk, and for those persons we'll be able to administer the vaccine if they would like that. So I think our preparation so far has been quite good, and I would say the doctors here are quite alert, and our other medical staff are quite alert in terms of what they need to do for Mpox.
In sports, reggae girl Khadija Bunny Shaw has been nominated for the 2024 Women's Ballon d'Or. The footballer has been racking up accolades after she scored 21 goals from 18 appearances for Manchester City in the Women's Super League last season. The tally is just one more than the 20 goals she notched in the 2022-2023 season. She is one of 30 female football players who have been nominated for 2024. A broken foot brought her season to a slightly early close, but she still dominated the English awards scene, logging the PFA Players Player of the Year and the Football Writers Association Women's Footballer of the Year nods. Bunny Shaw is the first black woman to claim the two nods. Schoolboy footballers will be able to represent their club teams during the 2024 Issa Manning and the Costa Cup season. The possibility came to light after Issa made an adjustment to its rules regarding multiple representation. In previous years, players were not allowed to play club football while representing their schools. However, for this season, Issa has said there must be 6 days between representing your club and playing in a Issa-sanctioned game. It means then, if a player features for a Premier League club on Saturday, he will not be allowed to play for his school until Saturday of the following week. The 2024 Smoking Barrels Extreme Regional Standoff held in Barbados came to an end with the Trinidad and Tobago Rifle Association's shooting team claiming top honors at the tournament. Here's more from Adrian Lazar.
With a total of 83 competitors from a host of countries present at the 2024 Smoking Barrels Extreme Regional Standoff held in Barbados, saw Trinidad and Tobago's rifle shooting team's Marlon Moses win the President's Gold Medal as he finished in first position in the Open Division, along with the distinction of overall top shooter of the tournament with a total of 1,328 points. TNT also shined in the PCC division as Gifford Wright was also a recipient of the President's Medal while claiming first position. Wright was also named the top foreign winner with a score of 1,280 points. TNT's Vida Prasad and Dr. Sheldon Olton placed in second and fourth position respectively in the division, with Kevin Grant of Barbados claiming third. Continuing the team's winning haul saw 61-year-old Tobagonian Brian Armstrong win the 60 and over Super Senior division with 936 points. Rounding up a successful tournament was TNT's first place finish in the teams division, comprised of Vida Prasad, Brian Armstrong, Gifford Wright, and Marlon Moses. TNT will look to continue their winning streak in October when they head to Curacao to compete in the Double Alpha Level 3 IPSC Championships. Adrian Lazar, TTT Sport.
And that's it for the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thanks for watching.